I mean, a Ludacris word of mouth is probably one of his better. I mean, to me, we loved Hoes and Area Code. We love that song. We're waiting for our area code to come up. Kara and I were like, oh my god, area code's gonna come up. Oh yeah. Indianapolis is gonna come 317. 317. Kara, there's hoes in 317. Like, I
loved the Snoop Dogg Doggy Style.
I loved it.
I bought that. I mean, I had Dr. Dre Chronic. I had all of those. I mean, but even if you listen to Missy Elliott, who I actually like, but you can see it progressively got worse and worse and worse, and the parental advisory got less and less and less.
Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy our content. So we just want to talk a little bit about where our generation messed up. Ludacris, y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all remember the song
Hoes in Different Area
Codes?
Hoes
in Different Area Codes. I just remember listening to that, and everyone that I knew was like, "Oh my God, they're about to say our area code. Oh, 317 is about." And I was like, Kara's like, "Wait a minute, why were we excited about being called hoes? Oh my God, hoes in Indianapolis."
Oh, you are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
I was like, why are we doing that here? I was like, I think that, okay, so if we take it back to like NWA, when did this start? I think it was
when NWA came on the scene.
Yeah.
Because you could take it back. You could take it actually back to the 70s with Parliament, Funkadelic.
That's true.
And even the disco era, because the disco era was notorious for just
drugs
and drugs. And that whole scene was about that. But the difference between that generation and our generation was that mainstream TV would never accept that on regular television. You know, so even with our generation, you go back to the NWA years, you know what I mean? And they were F the police, and everybody thought that was just like, sticking against the, sticking it to the man.
The Ghetto Boys,
on some level it was because they were talking about what happens in neighborhoods that aren't like, June Cleaver.
There was a message with it.
There was a message with that. But then they even started talking about hoes and sleeping around and making women more like props.
Right.
And, and so they highlighted that in their videos a lot. And so when I was younger, this is why I don't care what young people say about Lil Nas X or Cardi B, because even in those days, I was like, well, what's the big deal? Because I was young, and anytime a young person gets privy to see something that they know they're really not supposed to see, but they see it, they want to see it more. You know what I mean? So you can't take it for young people. You can't take a young person's point of view. Yeah, because they're going to like it because it's controversial.
Yeah, I remember listening to Too Short back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was just so mesmerized by the words he was saying. I was like, wow, I can't believe he's saying that. That's crazy. So it's, you're right. So I don't really care about what the young people are saying about Lil Nas X and all these new artists that are being extra. Because I get it. We were once young. But the thing is that during like the NWA time, they were trying to, that's when the parental advisory thing started to take heed.
Yeah.
It started to show up because they were talking about F the police and lots of vulgar, you can imagine, you guys know NWA.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always think about our generation like catapulting that music to a level to where it's like no holds barred, say what you want, fly off at the mouth, doesn't matter what you say, hoes, bitches, thugs, pimps, and we're bigging up on some nations. They know that Magic Don Juan is now part of the music world, because he's and then you got Snoop Doggy Dogg. Snoop Doggy Dogg, his Doggy Style record, just the cover art itself was like Luke 2 Live Crew.
Right.
Just their cover art.
Yeah.
So we kind of made this almost okay. We made it okay.
A friend of mine on Facebook was actually in his car driving, listening to music from our generation.
Yeah.
Okay. So his two boys that were both I think 17 and maybe 18 or no 16. I think one was 16 and one is 17.
Right.
And they were in the back. One was in the back seat. One was in the passenger seat. And he was lecturing to them about. He said, "Y'all music these days is crap. This was what's up right here." And so he was pumping up this music, and I thought to myself, well, they really shouldn't be listening to that.
Right.
But that was what he was raised on.
So
he didn't see anything wrong with it because he thinks that Cardi B is crap. But he didn't really see the crap in his own music. I mean, no, Master P.
Master P.
Ice Cream Man. You know what I mean? Like it was the music has progressively become mainstream, and like Danielle said, I mean, Magic Don Juan, he's a pimp. He's a real pimp. He's not like a TV pimp. You know what I mean?
Got the girls on the streets out there.
No, he was a real pimp. You know what I mean? And so these people are like, you know, have just come into our home. See, the thing about like our generation though, the only difference. See, this is the reason why it's more. It's the reason why you need to do it. You need to be more pushback. There needs to be more pushback now. Is only because kids get to walk around with these. Yeah. And see, when I was younger, you couldn't, even if there was a parental advisory,
you had to sneak.
You had to sneak. You had to really work to get some,
or know somebody to get it.
Or know somebody to get it because we didn't have the internet.
What was that when we got and Mom didn't take it back, or she went and took it back? There was a CD we bought, and we got trouble. What was that CD? She went back and returned it.
I don't remember.
Oh man, I hate that I can't remember it. But there was a CD we bought that there was a parental advisory. That's when it started. That parental advisory thing happened on the CD, and we brought it home. We were like late teens. I guess we were like 16, 17. Maybe late. We were younger. Maybe that age. And so we went to the record store and got the CD. They sold it to us. And then Mom, she was like, I think maybe even the cover art probably made her think, what? You know, but then I guess she heard us listening to it.
Hey, can you get my demo tape to somebody?
And then we had to she made us take it back. But she went and told the person, there's a parental advisory on here. You see how parents were then? You see what I'm saying? Like you could not, like she went to the record store and told the cashier, like this was sold to my daughters. And there's a parental advisory on here, and she got her money back and everything. But I'm thinking, but you see how the parents were then? She was not having it, and now it's not like that really anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was watching Vlad, and he had Lunel on there, and Lunel was saying that the comedian, she was saying that she's like there was a woman that came up to me and said, my son is like one of your biggest fans. And then she mentioned a movie, I guess, that she was in. And she's like, but you do know that I was like, my breasts were out in that movie. And that that movie really wasn't for young people. And she was like, yeah, but she's still popular. And then she said, yeah, but you know, she still thought that, she still thinks that you're like her biggest fan. And she was just like, and it just made me realize that parents today aren't and so, you know, when I say that would be my generation of child rearing.
It's true.
On some level, it is true. I don't feel like this generation of parents has dropped the ball. Something happened. And we just aren't watching our kids anymore.
You know, again, like Kara said, we're not trying to judge your parents, right? But there is something that happened that maybe you didn't even know. Yeah. Maybe you weren't aware. Maybe you didn't see it happening. Because again, that's how they do it. You don't even know it's happening. But it seeps into your family, you know, and then you just kind of just go with the flow with your child, you know.
You know, we talk a lot about the Matrix.
Yeah.
And this is what the Matrix is.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like I am fully aware that we are all kind of plugged in to a programming.
Yeah.
And that's just what this is. It's just a programming. And a lot of people don't really realize that they're being programmed.
When you're thinking consciously, and you're out of a certain level of a low vibrating level, it's like you start to see a lot of stuff that maybe you just didn't see before. So I don't know if that's what's happening now. Is that like a lot of parents now are not realizing that, you know, maybe their 20-year-old daughter, them hanging out with them and doing TikTok videos with them may not be the best thing. Yeah. A lot of these TikTok dances are all sex-based. Yeah. You're right, they're all like the sexual... And the songs are all sexual, and they all know the words together, and it's like it's a little weird. But I do look at our age of people, and their kids, and those are the kids that a lot of adults our age and older they're saying those kids are horrible. These young people these days are horrible, and I'm thinking, But that would be our.
It would be our generation.
That would be our generation. So every time someone says that,
you're saying that it's like you're saying that it's people our age saying that.
Yes.
And every time I hear I'll hear people on Instagram, my friends say that, I'm like, yeah, but you do realize that's our generation raising kids.
Right.
So if we can all acknowledge that, why aren't we changing it?
There's this weird thing where we were talking about the parental advisory thing and the censoring. So there's what's funny what's interesting with censoring is that there's this dance. So I don't want to be like a big censor police, right?
Right.
But there is this other side. I believe that in freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. So I believe that people should have videos to be able to say what they want to say and do what they want to do and all that stuff. But I do believe it should be a parental advisory. This is the other part, though, that I'm just like, there's nothing wrong with people like Lil Nas X wanting to put videos out like he did, right? But understand there's a consequence that might come with that, right? And but I feel like if you have the freedom to say all of that and do all of that,
then I have the freedom.
I have the freedom to push back on what you're doing to protect.
But there was always
children.
There was always a psychological reason why young people aren't allowed to do it, even with alcohol.
Yeah,
alcohol is like your brain cells are still developing, and they say also with young people and sex is that if a child sees sex too early, whether it's a Playboy magazine or whether it's just porn, then it changes. It hurts their development when it comes to actual sex. Yeah, because they're seeing it too soon. Yeah, that's what happens when kids are molested. They're messed up sexually because they had a sexual experience way too soon. Well, the lady that was the psychiatrist that was also saying, she said, but not just with being molested, but if kids actually see porn too soon, right? When they're seeing something before their developmental age, their innocence is ripped. And then they have a distorted view of sex. And so, I look around a lot of times and I see a lot of grown men who have distorted view, and I wonder if maybe seeing Playboys and stuff too early.
Yeah, that's interesting because that's true.
Maybe that because we have a culture of men who just want to be the man that gets every woman. And sometimes I wonder, did that happen when they were younger? Did sex get at them a little too early?
Too early.
You know what I mean? Because there's, when I see, there's just so many men out there, especially like when you look at like groups like MWA, guys who are really raised in poverty. And poverty really brings out another type of beast because now you're dealing with parents who aren't home a lot. Because you're dealing with the welfare system, the streets, you're dealing with the gangs and street, whatever goes on in that gated community. You know what I mean? And a lot of kids that are born in the hood are exposed to drugs, sex, and everything. They see prostitutes, they see everything too early. So when they get older, sex is like a pastime. It's
because there's no supervision involved. Here's the thing: is that it's very natural for young people to be curious about their sexuality, their bodies. All of that. It's extremely natural, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with your mind developing to want to know about sex. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So that's completely natural development. But there's a healthy way to be that way, right? But then there's a whole other thing where when you're predisposed to something, or you don't have supervision in your life, and you don't have supervision. Your parents are not home a lot, or whatever it is, and that you can kind of run amok. And be out there in the streets with your friends like that, and you just predisposed to everything quickly, unfiltered quickly, and all of a sudden that natural sense of exploring yourself and your sexuality in a more natural, healthy way turns into a very perverted, ripping of innocence. It kind of takes it all away. So I do kind of wonder if the reason, because I know, like you're saying, there's a lot of men that are that are flirty, and that's fine. I mean, that's not a big deal. But there are men who are kind of more crude in their demeanor and their delivery with the way they are with women on some of the stuff you see. So I do wonder if those types of men, not all men, but those types of men, or even women for that sense.
I was watching
women too, though.
Yeah, when you look at a lot of these rappers that are out there, like Snoop Dogg, everything is about the dehumanizing sexually of women.
Yeah.
These men never fall in love. They're only with hoes. Yeah, that's it. I've never seen, and most of them are married. Snoop Dogg has been married for a long time. Ice Cube has been married for a long time. Dr. Dre his is almost over, but 25 years. You know what I mean, or somewhere. So they're selling something. Yeah. That they kind of aren't. Yeah. To make music,
right. Exactly.
I'm not saying that they're saints or anything, but I'm just saying like there is certainly an agenda to make people think. It's like I knew this was going south when the Cash Money Millionaires came out because
that's what I was thinking about,
everything was about money and women. That was it.
Bling bling and
bling
all that
bling,
stuff, yeah.
money and women. And there's not like your soul is just gone.
It's gone.
It has nothing to do with being a nice person, a good person, working hard to get your money. It's just
what you view, your view of decency is now skewed.
Yeah.
And then all we have is jewelry, money, cars, women, men, penis, vagina. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you think about all the stuff the industry is pushing when it comes to black people, it's really just that. Right? It really is. Those are like the things that we are. So that has become what we are.
Yeah.
So it's like now it's gone so far. I think about the NWA, and I knew how.
Well, I've actually listened to some of that music. That I was telling Danielle the other day. I was working out on my elliptical.
What were you listening to?
I was working on my elliptical. Do you remember that song? Everybody in the club getting tipsy.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's Jaquan. Anyway, I was listening to the words of that song because I just was in it. Maybe because I was prepping for a show and stuff, and I was just listening because it's a really good song to work out to, do cardio with. And so he said something about, and then I got to move on to the next whore. Then goes the 2 to the 3 and the 4. Yeah. Then he goes something then something on the or then I got to move on to the next whore.
Well.
And I thought to myself, and then when you look at the video, because I was watching the video, he was going in his house party. He was going into different rooms with different women. And all I could think is, this is really horrible. This is a really horrible song. But my next song came on, the Head Sprung by LL Cool J, and he's like, this man is married too.
Yeah.
Talking like this. For a long time.
Yeah.
So when I look at people like Snoop Dogg, LL Cool J, Ice Cube, these are married men who've been married for years.
Yeah.
And they're not promoting that. They're not promoting the beauty of women at all. They're just promoting
what the industry wants them to
grow. But the industry wants them to grow.
Yeah.
So you just kind of see like there is sort of an agenda of how the powers that be or whoever is in this music industry wants,
like black people are objects.
Yeah, right.
Like black just people. Black
because like when they talk about the Illuminati.
Yeah.
The Illuminati really just means the illuminated ones.
Person,
and so this is not new. This is back in the Puritan days, where there were people who shaped popular culture. And that's what the music industry does. It shapes popular culture. That's why if you look at shows from the 40s, 50s, 60s, if you look at music from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, even fashion, everything's different every decade. And that's because there are people who shape popular culture.
Right.
And so this is popular culture.
Yeah. No, 100%.
So when I looked at
they were selected.
Right. They were selected, right,
to do this. The illuminated ones. So you think about it, so that's what people think about Illuminati.
They select certain people
to do
they can do this. That's why the guy from the Smashing Pumpkins that was on Joe Rogan was saying that when he got his first contract, he said they had him for like 14 years.
Oh yeah,
7 albums for like 14 years. And he said, he said once you get out of that matrix, and then you kind of know the people in the business, and they kind of give you insight after you've been, plucked and and he was just saying that he said a lot of people don't realize that when they come into the industry, a lot of these young new stars, because now he said now new stars only last for about 2 years, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And he was just like, and so when you look at these new stars, a lot of them don't understand that there is an industry and there's a music business.
Yeah, right.
And so Damon Dash actually said the same thing.
Yeah.
He was just like, there's the business, and then he said, then there's the industry,
Yeah.
and the industry will chew you up and spit you out. But if you know the business, that's where the real money is. And he's just like, a lot of people. Prince understood that. That's why he was wearing that little thing on his when he was that said slave.
Yeah.
I was actually watching Dave Chappelle talk the other day about Prince.
Yeah,
and he said Prince was a really good friend of mine. He was just like, but when he had that thing going on with the music industry where he was trying to get his rights back to his music.
He was trying to get his catalog back. Yeah.
And he said, you know why he was calling himself the artist? He stopped calling himself Prince, and he called himself the artist formerly known. He says, because in our contracts, we're called the artists.
Everyone.
So we're not people.
Right.
We are a product.
Right.
And so that's why he had that like written on himself. And that's why he called himself the artist. And so I thought that was very interesting because I think a lot of people like Cardi B, I think I actually feel if we actually knew what was happening, we probably felt more compassion for them than anger.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't like to jump to when you see some of these videos, some of these shocking videos that people do. I don't want to jump to God, these people are awful people. Because I actually don't think
that they're awful
I think
people.
that I think they like music, and a lot of them maybe thought they were going to get into an industry that was just about the music, and there's not. It's not how it works. Like, it's not what happens. And just me knowing, I was telling you the other video about my friend in New York that is a rapper, a really good one. He said signing with a record label is it's a risky thing. He said, and not just like the financial part of it, but it's risky because you get engulfed in this group of people that are, a lot of them are very perverted, and so it makes me think about the artists now, and then like what were they having to do to have to shell out this type of music, and all they are is produce more records, gotta be number one,
So when Motown had a reunion, or they had a reunion like performance every year, and they had J-Lo do it, and so a lot of people felt some way, a lot of the black community felt some way about that, because Berry Gordy, you told me, that Berry Gordy's his whole thing about Motown was that everyone was supposed to be classy. That's why the Supremes and all those the Temptations, they all wore suits and very tailored outfits, and they all act like classy black people. That was the whole point. He wanted to bring class to it. And then Jennifer goes up there half naked, not black, and they were just like, this is nothing to do with Motown. And then she didn't even know Motown music.
She didn't even.
So there was like, you could tell that he got talked to. About the performance.
Well, and she was the selected one. See what I'm saying? But you ever look at people and you think, why are you famous? That's how you know. That's why I feel like they're selected, and they take certain people that are maybe susceptible to really anything,
right?
And then get them to do whatever, and then they do, and then we have our music, and then they got their money and fame. Only other part is, I'm sure they're having misery somewhere in there, because they are now just objects, really.
Well, I mean, remember Dave Chappelle said that when he was on the Oprah show, and he was saying that the industry works you like a dog. There's a reason why Martin Lawrence was running around the street, and Mariah Carey lost her mind that one time. Britney Spears shaved her head, and he said because these stars are almost enslaved.
Something happens.
He said there's sort of a slave thing happening here. It's like where it looks like we have everything in the world, but if you really look at it, most of us can't go anywhere without guards. We can't go to the grocery store anymore. It's like we work for this industry, and they
when you think they have it at their fingertips, it looks like they have the world at their fingertips, and I just know that they don't.
I think it's just real disappointing to watch our country just sort of go into a spectacle of itself. It has no class anymore. It makes me feel some sort of way, and I feel like I'm responsible for it. Because my generation bought those albums that catapulted into where we are today.
We loved Ho's Area Code.
Right.
We love that song. We're waiting for our area code to come up. Kara and I were like, oh my God, area code's gonna come up. Oh yeah. Indianapolis is gonna come 317. Kara, there's hoes in 317.
That is funny.
And it's like,
I loved the Snoop Dogg Doggy Style.
I loved it.
I had about that. I had Dr. Dre Chronic. I had all of those.
A Ludacris word of mouth is probably one of his better. To me. Right. But
even if you listen to Missy Elliott, who I actually like.
I love her.
You know what I mean? It's just like, it's all just...
It's a lot, man.
A lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot of wrong stuff. But
you can see it progressively got worse. And worse and worse, and the parental advisory got less and less and less, and now it's just like, if you turn on the TV, you'll see like, remember the song Whoop, there it is. Now it's just like a seafood commercial.
Yeah, I realized that, even like with our generation of music, it was kind of the beginning of what we're seeing right now. And so when I look back, I watched this podcast. I forgot who the name of the person is. Podcast talking about this, and that it was an artist talking about this from the 90's. They were like, in the 90's we kind of kickstarted what you see right now, and not even knowing we were doing that, right? And so I'm like, wow, that's so true, because now when we look at it now, it's like, oh man.
But more so than any generation, I think that our generation of parenting became more friends with their kids and not parents. And a lot of people say that's not true, because I get on my kids, but no, you don't. Not like my mother did. Like my mother would have never done a TikTok dance with me.
Can you imagine?
She would never do that. You know what I mean? Because there was always she was always the parent, and we were always the kids. And a lot of times I used to think that was uncool. She used to drive me nuts because I always wanted to be cool. You know what I mean?
Thank
But the
God
thing
that
is,
she
like
did
now
that.
I'm thank God that my mother just didn't. That she gave me childhood.
I wanted to change with some of the things because I understand that I can't. It would be archaic of us, like the word. It would be archaic of us to sit here and not go with times, right? But I think that there again balance, right? So this is the problem: is that there's no balance. And I don't know. I don't know what you think about, what you guys think about all that, but I just think that it started our generation.
Yeah.
I think it's always happened, but I think our generation catapulted it to what it is now.
Yeah.
And a lot of 90's rap artists say that now. Like they're like kind of
they're
admitting
they're
it.
older.
Yeah, they're kind of admitting that this is what
It's concerning.
It is because
It's just concerning.
after looking at the
that's
Little
all.
Nas X thing and
Because that's the standard. It's going to get worse from here. You know what I mean? Like
he's now the standard of
and now he's got to
indecency.
be worse. He's got to be because
or else he's done.
I mean, I just saw Cardi B with that video. She was simulating riding a corpse.
Oh, I saw
Remember that video?
Yeah.
Like I saw like the first part of it, and I thought to myself, like,
I'm
what is
done.
this? It's just another way to pervert
Yeah, it's just shock.
the world.
I don't think that is. That doesn't. It doesn't really give me. I don't think it's art because art's supposed to give me a feeling of like thought process. When I think of, you know what I mean? I don't think of it as art because for me, I mean, everyone's different. So I'm not going to say that my thoughts are for everyone, but I always think of art as it's supposed to be thought provoking and then critical thinking involved in art. To me, this is more of just very basic, low level, low vibrating kind of thought process. Okay, so you're simulating sex. What's the next thing?
I don't get it.
Where's the thought-provoking part of that? Where's the three-dimensional part of this? You see what I'm saying? Like, where's the whole woman in you? Yeah, we got the sex part. Okay, you are sexually adventurous. I mean, fine. That's a part of who you are as a woman. You're a sexual woman. Fine. Not even mad at that. But there are other parts of you, little Nas X, Megan, and all these other people. You know, I'm just talking about them because they're the ones in the headlines right now. But you know what I'm saying? Like there's more to you.
I mean, because if you think about where Mariah Carey started and where she like kind of ended.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She started off like very
soulful, very
but just
talented.
like yeah. So
yeah.
And then Old Dirty Bastard was on her.
All right, yeah. Let us know what you think. Do you think that our generation kind of catapulted to what we're seeing right now? Because I kind of feel like it does.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it's something went wrong with us. Something we just kind of let a little bit too much happen back then in the 90's, and then here we are. So let us know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy our content. Thank you guys for watching. We hope you liked it, and we will see you guys next week. Have a good weekend. Bye.